I think I may have found my new favorite alternate history military shooter game featuring zombies in Roblox. Wow, that was a mouthful. World War II Zombie Survival is an experience that works in the same vein as a Star Wars Battlefront or Squad game, just without the PvP. But hey, that just means there won't be tryhards preventing you from playing the game. You're dropped into a map and you're expected to fulfill missions in a chosen location until they are all done, or, if it's a holdout mission, until the zombies break the gate or wall. The game is a blast, and even more if you're a military history nut, as this game provides you with dozens upon dozens of different uniforms, firearms, and vehicles. It's pretty much if War Thunder wasn't just about vehicles, but also a first-person shooter. The menu is incredibly atmospheric and moody. The first thing we see upon loading in is this solitary campfire, burning in the middle of this dark, isolated hangar. A snowstorm taking over the outside world as the strings of a balalaika try to interpret the horror of this world our character is trapped and forced to survive in. The music is brilliantly used, both in the menu and in the actual game. They perfectly fit the time period, the mood, and the tension of battle. And then we have the menu. And you know what I've always been a sucker for? Video game menus that move around a room or scene, like for example the menus in Twisted Metal Black. You feel like a ghost, or perhaps the reader of a book, learning of all the minuscule details that make up a table, a person, or a scenario, and fusing all that information in your head. This game does pretty much that, and it, along with the music, helps keep you calm before going into a match or calm you down after one.
Not Peter! Why are you talking about some music and menus? Tell us about the actual game before we click on the video.
Alright already, jeez! Don't get your fucking labubus in a twist, you damn iPad kids, I'm getting to it! Ah yes, I mentioned the maps. Well, they are colossal! You get to visit historical sites such as the Omaha Beach of Normandy, the Ardennes, Manchuria, and like a dozen other maps. And the best part is that each map has its own campaign with lore, because yes, this game has a storyline, as well as a bunch of characters to get attached to, who will give you warnings and missions via radio throughout the campaigns. The dialogue is very well done, and you can easily tell the personality of each character thanks to the way they communicate. In most of these maps, what you usually do is capture certain points in the region, but it's not just that. In fact, there's a lot of variety in the missions. You got rescue missions, repair missions, retrieval missions, survival missions, defense missions, and it's an element that really helps keep the game from becoming stale. Plus, there are special missions for every single map, which you'll have to play by yourself to discover. I don't wish to spoil the fun parts. If you want to see how crazy this game gets, make sure you play it. Also to note, the missions are assigned in a random order, which avoids repetition. In one campaign in Egypt, you might need to retrieve a number of artifacts after capturing the church, while the next time you play it, what might actually happen is zombie Goliaths attack it and you have to fight against them. Which takes us to the enemies. This experience has its varied share of them. You got enlisted and civilian zombies, which are the weakest of the bunch, then there's officers, bulwarks, crawlers, and even, on some occasions, you'll get a wave of enemy paratroopers. Yes, zombie paratroopers that drop from the sky, that will mop the floor with your team if you're not careful. And then the aforementioned Goliaths, which serve as a mini-boss of sorts. They all have their specific damage output, speed, and health, but as long as you make sure to aim for the head, you should be fine for the most part. If everyone dies, it's game over. However, if at least one person remains alive in the game, it will still be possible for the dead players to be redeployed after a countdown. It's fun, not only because it's not one of those extreme games where you die and the game is done for you, but also because it's like the scene of a movie where a squad is waiting for backup in a horrible situation. But how do you hold out against a wave of zombies? Simple. You fortify. When using blue crates in the map, you can trade scrap for things like sandbags, spikes, barbed wire, and if you purchase a sapper, you'll be able to get hugely helpful things like deployable ammo and a healing tent. The best way to gather scrap is by interacting with the small wooden crates that lie around points of interest. Each will give you around 10 scrap, and there's always a bunch of them close to each other. However, that's not the only thing you can use scraps for, because there's also the field kitchen mechanic. Around the map, you might come across this field kitchen where you can exchange scraps for none other than upgrades for your character, such as being able to hold more ammo, sprint for longer, reload faster, or have more health. And the best part is, even if you die, you still keep your upgrades, which some people may or may not like, but honestly, I don't mind, especially considering all the times a bunch of crawlers came out of nowhere and got me killed on the spot. Dicks. But back to the topic of crates. Probably the most important one out of them all is the ammo crate. They can be found in pretty much every area that can be captured. You see, this isn't one of the hundreds of games that are on the platform which give you infinite ammo and let you sit down wherever holding down M1. In this game, you get just the right amount of bullets for both your primary and secondary. If you're a good shot and make good use of your ammo, and don't just spray and pray like a baboon, you'll get by for a pretty long while without needing to restock. And you may as well become good at it, because the thing about the ammo crates is that they're not infinite. That's right, they have a cooldown. So before you grab ammo from a crate, make sure you follow proper ammo crate etiquette. Yeah right, don't worry, it's usually first come first serve. And in all fairness, once you've made some progress on the map and captured a bunch of places, you can just call your vehicle and go somewhere else with ammo. Or failing that, just wait for the cooldown to end. It's not like it's too long anyway. Long, sure, but not wait half an hour long. When you first enter the game, you get a cutscene where you're watching a World War II reel telling you the controls and other helpful things. And thank you! God, thank you so much. After playing Decaying Winter, seeing a game that actually gives you a tutorial is like giving a puppy a warm hug. The game also offers you tips and hints while waiting to be deployed, and should you forget the controls, the waiting room has a blackboard with the keybinds to refresh your memory. Actually, here's a tip of mine. You can press Q on tanks to aim better. I don't know if the game tells you that, I just sort of found out by accident, but it's very helpful. The game also offers a few different graphic settings. The first one, the standard setting, is for the more powerful devices, and it's beautiful. Though, fair warning, just because it says it's the one meant for computers doesn't necessarily mean it's the right one for your PC, so do be careful. Thankfully, however, if your PC is not as powerful, there are two other options to choose from, one for phones and the other lovingly named Toaster. And also, if you go to the settings, there's a lot more things you can tweak to ensure your computer doesn't get a coronary. And yeah, the game does have its flaws. It's got plenty of bugs, some of which can softlock you, like when a civilian you have to rescue gets stuck somewhere, and if the mission you get is on the other side of the map and you don't have a vehicle, then whoops! Now, in all fairness, it doesn't take too long to level up enough to get your first vehicle, and if you get lucky like me and get a defense map as your first game, you won't have to deal with audition tracks too much. That being said, the vehicles aren't perfect either. In certain maps, it's pretty much impossible to get a car or tank to go up a slope, and if a zombie gets on top of a vehicle, it might take a while to shake it off, but in spite of that, it's a lot of fun to drive around blasting infected. There's also the fact there's no one stopping the typical fatherless asshole from destroying all your fortifications just to grief you, so yeah, maybe add a reporting and or kicking feature in the future? Thanks. And while this game does have a bunch of game passes, you don't need any of them at all to have fun or a fair chance in the game. In my experience, I've been doing perfectly fine without them. Or maybe that's what I keep telling myself because I don't want to give money to a platform that is on the side of child predators and instead of punishing them protects them and supports them. TLDR, the game is not pay to win, and that's a huge plus in this platform. Overall, World War II Zombie Survival, while not having the best name, does have a very fun and addicting gameplay loop. It's fun to unlock stuff, try on new outfits, and the community is a blast if you're into World War II, weapons, and other things. Sadly, this game suffers from a very tragic fate, and that's the fact the devs are currently focusing all their efforts on a different game. Yeah, sorry for dropping this bomb on you, but to be honest, after I showed you all the wonderful things this game has to offer, it's obvious it was too good to be true. But in all honesty, even if this game doesn't get updates for like a year, I believe the current product is fairly decent and very well done. All it needs is a bit of polish and a little less German. Zing! But yeah, I'm not a Roblox game dev, so I don't know how hard it must be to make updates constantly, but when a bunch of people in your community's Discord server keep complaining about the lack of updates and the fact that there's been pretty much radio silence from the devs since the 4th of July, What's the game they're focusing on anyway? Oh, a roleplay game. Never seen that one before. At least this one tries to be somewhat original by being set in the 90s, but apart from that, it just feels like every other experience where you're put in a city and you can just do whatever. I don't have much to say about it, mainly because I don't go into Roblox to play house with 6-year-old girls, but I really don't see the point of making a type of game that is already flooding the market. Oh, hang on. Anyway, this video has gone for long enough, but hopefully I'll have convinced you to give World War II Zombie Survival a chance. I give this game a femboy stug out of 10. Thanks again for watching, I hope you have enjoyed the video. Once again, I urge you to give me suggestions for games to play and talk about. Make sure to share this video with friends, family and pets, yada yada. This has been Peter, not live, not dead, but also not undead. See ya!
I have Hellcat tank.
Did you just call it to drop on the building?
Oops.
The order recent shampoo has instructions.